morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom, and of course, we're broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning, and we have a lot to cover this morning, and we're going to hear from our good friend Kristen Brewer from the Gaffer District about tonight's Cabin Fever event. So that's coming up in just a little bit. I know in the past we've talked a lot about cybersecurity and this idea of losing the grid when it comes to either China and their hacking systems, or whether it's with the plan, which could be done as soon as this year, of Russia attacking satellites. And we said what that would do to society. A lot of you may be able to live without your cell phones and the internet. We saw yesterday with AT&T and T-Mobile and some Verizon users as seeing an outage, what that meant for some people. It was very much the talk of the town. Now they're saying it was a software update, that it wasn't a cyber attack, but it is interesting to see almost the fear in people's eyes as they have no way to contact someone. They have no way to look up something on their phone. And we've learned that with China hacking, there's even possibilities of them being able to shut down major city sewage and the like. And then we also learned that pharmacies nationwide have been hit with cyber attacks. Change Healthcare first noticed the, quote, cybersecurity issue affecting its networks on Wednesday on the East Coast. It comes amid the cell outage. But Change Healthcare are in no doubt the problems facing their system have been caused by a cyber attack. In a statement, they said Change Healthcare is experiencing a network interruption related to a cybersecurity issue, and our experts are working to address this matter. Once we became aware of the outside threat, in the interest of protecting our partners and patients, we took immediate action to disconnect our system to prevent further impact. We will provide more information in the future. Just kind of a larger picture to start off the program this morning. Now, Democrat Representative Glenn Ivey from Maryland suggested cyber attacks we are more open to cyber attacks as a country because of the impeachment of Mayorkas. This was on News Nation Now. Ivey stated that the threats of cyber attacks on communication infrastructure are, quote, exactly the type of things that the Homeland Security Committee should have been looking at instead of wasting time on the Mayorkas impeachment. These sorts of vulnerabilities to cyber attacks, I think, are something the United States isn't doing enough to get prepared for. And when you watch what Russia is doing with respect to Ukraine, you can see that those capabilities are increasing. Same with respect to China and Iran. So I think Congress needs to be doing more. We need to shift our focus away from, frankly, a lot of wasted time, the investigations, the impeachments, and all that, and get focused on protecting the country. So there you are. Your thoughts on that. Wow, look at this. We got waves coming in galore. Oh, and we got an extra wave because someone here commenting that they had missed yesterday's wave due to the AT&T outage. Well, thank you very much. So we're really off to gangbusters here. Hey, coming up, because I do have to take our first break, we're going to hear some updates from New York that I brought to you yesterday. The congressman weighing in on that court decision in regards to illegal aliens voting. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Also, an update on who the Republicans chose in Binghamton to run, or endorse, I should say, because it looks as if there'll be a primary, but who they endorsed to run against Senator Gillibrand. That's coming up in just a moment. We do have some presidential issues, as you know. Tomorrow is the South Carolina primary. I don't even think there's really any talks that Nikki Haley really stands a chance. It's just how much she'll lose by. Some have predicted as high as 40. I think that's... I know I mentioned a lot, but I think what happens when someone says, oh, she'll lose by 40, and if she loses by 30, the media can say she did better than anybody imagined. So it'll be interesting. We'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit as well. But let's take our first break. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Today is the day to start making every day better with a Hesselson's hot tub. Hesselson's winter clearance event is going on now through the end of the month. Save $1,000, $2,000, even $5,000 off Hesselson's already low prices and get free Bluetooth music. With Hesselson's offering many 0% interest-free financing options for up to 5 full years, why wait? Come in today during Hesselson's winter clearance hot tub event and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's hot tub. Hesselson's, your community partner since 1955. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now and get this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. This book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms that can help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. And if you call right now, as a bonus, we'll throw in a free annuity rate report. We've researched over 1,200 annuities summarizing the rates and benefits for you. So don't miss out on this opportunity because supplies are limited. Call now and find out how you can get up to 33% more income in your retirement, and you'll receive Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report as an added bonus. Both books are yours free, just for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-354-5972. That's 800-354-5972. Again, 800-354-5972.
Our beautiful view overlooking Market Street, where we broadcast live from the Hesselson studio. This is Frankly Speaking. So yesterday, Republicans gathered in Binghamton to decide who they would endorse to run against Gillibrand. And keep in mind, it's still a long shot bid. But the Republicans selected Mike Sapercone, a wealthy private security executive, as their preferred nominee at the party convention yesterday that was held in Binghamton. He said in an interview, "It's about time we had a voice in New York we haven't had," accusing Senator Gillibrand of having not been seen or heard since her unsuccessful run for president in 2020. I sometimes forget that she tried to run for president. That's interesting. But the show of support apparently failed to clear his path. Rather than drop out, two conservative Republican frontrunners, Josh Eisen, in full disclosure, we had him on the program back around the holiday season, and Cara Castronova signaled their intent to petition onto the ballot and allow primary voters to have the final say in June. That would set up a potential messy fight that could expose the deep ideological fissures dividing the party, according to the New York Times. It threatens to force Mr. Sapercone not to only tap into his campaign treasury, and that's the biggest issue, but also to adopt more conservative positions on subjects like abortion and former President Trump that could hurt the party in November. Mr. Eisen said, "Today the party bosses spoke. The rest of the GOP gets the last word in the June primary." Now, they're already raising, and it's his opponents, but also people that supported other candidates, saying that Mr. Sapercone kind of enters with some baggage. He has repeatedly donated to Democrats over the years and was among a group of former police detectives accused in a 2021 lawsuit of having coerced a false confession and suppressed exonerating evidence that kept a man behind bars for decades. Mr. Eisen is quoted as saying he has questionable views about guns, questionable views on the Second Amendment. He's unclear about his position on Trump. So again, we talked to Eisen. He's a pretty formidable threat in the primary. He was endorsed by former Governor George Pataki, and he has quite a war chest because he's a wealthy man. And then you have Castronova. She's a conservative reporter for Newsmax, and she appears to be making her own play for Mr. Trump's support. She was endorsed by Roger Stone, I want to say Rudy Giuliani, I believe. Just like parents should have a choice about what vaccination is put into their child's body, the voters should have a choice about the candidate that goes into the general election for Senate, she wrote in a text message. So there you go. There's your update. I promised you yesterday that I would give you an update on that. Those are the kind of the big shots of the Republican Party get together at the Republican Committee, this time in Binghamton, to make that decision of who they will endorse. It does not mean there won't be a primary. Of course, the problem with the primary. And this goes back, if you recall, many years ago, before not that long before he ran for president, but there was a push to get Donald Trump to run for governor. And the main thought of that was that he had the name recognition. That's one issue that Republicans face going up against someone that's already governor in this case, and we're talking Senate. I know they're two different things, but it was interesting because he had said at the time, I will run if there's no primary, because you're spending too much money fighting with other Republicans and you get all bloodied, and at the end of the day, it just makes you a weaker candidate. And I thought that was a very good point. It looks like that could be the case here for the Senate race. Also, before we go to break, during that meeting, House Speaker Mike Johnson visited Binghamton, as you may recall. He was there to support Mark Molinaro in his re-election campaign for Congress. I like how the media reports on this, and they did this very often during Trump's campaign as well. You won't see this as often or ever, perhaps, if Biden holds a rally or if a prominent Democrat holds a rally. House Speaker Mike Johnson's visit to Binghamton draws protests. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson's visit to Binghamton Thursday in support of Mark Molinaro drew protests. So the story isn't about our House Speaker visiting Binghamton. It's about the people that didn't want him to visit Binghamton. Isn't that interesting? That's the spin you put on this. Johnson was in town for the statewide Republican convention earlier in the day and then stopped at the Broome County Sheriff's Office. In part, his visit was aimed at supporting Molinaro's reelection bid in a seat that could shape the future power in the GOP, which, by the way, was it Politico who said that he could be the deciding factor if the Republicans keep the majority in the House. But we don't even know what the lines are yet. And that vote could happen as soon as Monday. But keep in mind, petition season officially starts Tuesday. So they've got a lot to do. You may have a scenario like last time where you're getting petition signed for a district you don't even know what it'll end up looking like. You could be getting a signature from someone that in a few weeks won't even be in your district. But I'll continue. Protesters took issue with the move. Quote, Molinaro is a rubber stamp for this guy. Invites him in our backyard here in Binghamton. It's unacceptable. And Molinaro shows with his votes. He's not for the people of the 19th District, said Ravo Root, community organizer for Citizens Action of New York. Now, I almost wonder if this is a little payback, because at the end of the article, it said Mike Johnson would not speak to reporters during this trip. So does the reporter say, okay, I don't get that interview? Let's get an interview with a protester and make the whole headline and the whole base of the article about protest. I don't believe, after looking at this, any kind of talks of how many people Mike Johnson talked to that day, how many people were in the sheriff's office, those type of things. It was all about, and it doesn't even say how many protesters. Was it just Ravo Root? Molinaro, speaking in support of the visit, said this could bring a new federal focus on the southern tier, saying, obviously, he's supportive of our efforts. Obviously, I welcome the support. But what's most important is that there's a focus on communities like ours. That makes a difference, said Molinaro. Among the issues protesters spoke out about, this is the next line, just showing you a little bit about how the media handles things, is what they're calling the speaker's lack of support for Ukraine. Anyway, and then they go on to quote Root again. So Molinaro said, they asked me very specifically, what will you tell the speaker? As soon as the speaker got here, I expressed to him again, as he knew coming in. We had a robust, vibrant Ukrainian community here in this part of the district. In the car ride over, I said to him, we've got to find ourselves closer to commonality. So the main focus is the protesters and not the fact that the Speaker of the House came and visited Binghamton. Interesting. When we come back, we do have a couple more New York State issues. We have obviously some presidential issues. But when we come back, we're going to hear from our friend Kristen Brewer from the Gaffer District about tonight's exciting event, kind of become a tradition. So many people talk about it, Cabin Fever. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking.
Was your premature baby fed a cow's milk baby formula such as Similac or Enfamil? If so, your child may be entitled to significant financial compensation. Evidence shows that cow's milk formulas increase the risk of NEC in premature babies, causing severe harm and even death. If your child was born premature and suffers from NEC, intestinal perforations, sepsis, cerebral palsy, or died as a result, you may have the right to sue for significant financial compensation. Call now for a free case review.
More cars. Lower prices. More cars at lower prices. You've waited long enough. Make car buying simple when you drive your deal at Simmons-Rockwell.com, where you'll always find more cars at lower prices.
Hey, Emerald Lagasse here, and I'm so excited to tell you about my biggest air fryer yet.
Introducing Emerald Lagasse's Dual Zone Air Fryer Oven. With dual-sided cooking chambers, now you can cook 2 different foods 2 different ways that finish at the same time. Enjoy juicy grilled burgers at the same time as air-fried french fries. Broiled savory salmon at the same time as roasted asparagus. The secret is in the QuickSync technology that matches the cooking times and settings of each food, so they're programmed to finish at the same time. But watch, remove the center divider and it transforms into a large 25-quart capacity oven. Now you can try Emerald Lagasse's Dual Zone Air Fryer Oven with free recipe book in your home for 30 days for just $14.99. But wait, we'll automatically upgrade you to his deluxe cooking kit and 1-year VIP protection plan absolutely free, complete with everything you need to cook Monday to Sunday family-size meals. Plus, ask how you can get free shipping. This offer will not last, so order now.
You're gonna love it. I guarantee it.
Here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom, and we are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio here in the Gaffer District. Speaking of the Gaffer District, one of our favorite guests, Kristen, thanks so much for being back on the program.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And you're always so busy, so I'm glad that you can take the time out. We'll talk about that in just a moment.
You're just a half a block down, though,
I
so
know,
it makes it easier.
So it makes it perfect. So this could not be a better name for this event, because we're all kind of done with this weather a little bit, and we want to get out of the house. So tell us about Cabin Fever and what people can expect this year.
Absolutely. So traditionally, I'll tell you that stuff first, and then some of the new things for this year.
Sure.
Traditionally, it's a craft beverage, whether that be wine, beer, or a distillery from the region, doing tastings in the businesses that would like to participate with tastings. And sometimes if they're doing the tastings, they also have some fun giveaways or promos or special opportunities and stuff. So it really does, I mean, not like it's not a great idea enough to come out and have a little taste of like region kind of thing and walk through the downtown. But so that is traditionally what happens. There are, you can buy your tickets online or you can buy them the night of the event. The places where you can buy tickets and then get your ID bracelets and be ID'd and get your glasses and pairing
Make it official. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is at the Radisson Corny. It's at the Wine Glass Marathon office. It's right off of Centerway Square, right next to Old World Cafe. We'll be in there. And then at Carrie's Brew House on Bridge Street. And then we have a shuttle that runs from the front of the Radisson over to Carrie's Brew House. So if people want to jump over to the north side, because there is Brick and Carrie's over there, and Carrie's has Brick's still trying to decide what they're going to do, so that'll be a fun surprise. But Carrie's has grist iron and Hamburg, so it's well worth coming on over there and checking out everything. But this year, we have where it's always a mad rush at 5 o'clock for everyone to get their ID bracelets and get out there. And we thought we would take advantage of the excitement for that and start having the ID station open an hour early. You can't start tasting early, but you could walk around and see what's going on in the stores and grab something to eat quickly and know that as soon as it hits 5 o'clock, you can hit those tasting locations because you're all set and you've got your gear.
That's a great idea, because the lines do get pretty long when the gates open, so to speak.
Okay, last year we were all through the Radisson and down one of the hallways. I was checking people. So I think this is genius.
Yeah. Right? Yes, makes it easier on you.
Yeah.
But what I do like about the event, and I think it's really unique in this way, because you said it's regional drinks, and think of how many times you go out and go, I'd like to buy some of that, but I've never tried it before, right? Or maybe I want to learn pairing and I want to see what goes best. That kind of thing can become overwhelming. This makes it easy for one night you're not going to be an expert by the end, but you're going to know a lot more than when you started.
Yeah, and each time you step up to a different tasting location, it's you and the pourer. You can start talking about what the product does and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a pretty cool opportunity.
So, I want to mention this because this is somewhat new this year, but there's obviously need a designated driver if you're going to overindulge. So you've made it easy even for that, which I think is a brilliant idea. So tell us if someone's going to say, I'll DD for you. Right. How's it work out in their favor?
So you could just stand in line with the people that are getting their tickets so that we can put a designated driver wristband on you. And then it makes you eligible for all sorts of giveaways, freebies, free drinks, free food at different locations that are offering designated driver specials. It might be a few wings, it might be hot cocoa. Just sometimes there are even little giveaways and stuff like that for someone making not necessarily a sacrifice, but the commitment to take their friends around and stuff like that. And also this year, if you have bought a tasting, an ID and a cup, we are going to have a few non-alcoholic and mocktail stations too.
That's a great idea.
Which is so hip right now.
Yeah. Well, and you think about it, to your friends, you're a hero already for being a designated driver, right? But then they're treating you like a hero when you go in with all the special deals.
Exactly.
That's such a great idea. So for those that are going to participate, it's always a big crowd. When does the tasting run?
It runs from 5. Officially 5 to 9.
Okay.
But sometimes the stations do run out. You know, some people that have brought things down might have gotten hit pretty hard. So we always say as supplies last. But hey, if it's sold out at one place, step next door to the next one that's participating, and they'll still have
plenty of and do you get a list of who's participating?
You do. The pairing sheet right now is actually on our website under Cabin Fever, and it's on the Facebook event page.
Okay, and that's GafferDistrict.com. And you know, because I'm a great interviewer, I did some research before.
Oh, nice.
And I went to the GafferDistrict.com, and I was looking up the event just so I had some of the who, what, when, where, and why. There is something going on in the Gaffer District nearly every day. And it's not always a big event like Cabin Fever, but it's just almost every day.
Yeah, truly. We're lucky with some of the businesses having different things going on, and it's nice that everyone's communicating because we can kind of be a clearinghouse of information for what's going on in the downtown. You know, we just had Love Your Downtown and the Great Antique Sale, and it is busy. And wait till Glass Fest and all the summer programming starts. It's going to be nuts.
Well, and this is just the winter, you know. And I know we talked last summer, and you're very busy. And unfortunately, you're so busy that you don't get to participate in Cabin Fever. You're going to be working. You never?
I have never. Honestly, it has started 18 years ago, and I know that because I started working the next day. Didn't know about it,
right?
And have never been able to go to one yet. So someday when I retire, I'm going to enjoy it.
I say just take the day off the year ahead and don't tell anybody. You know, when you put in that vacation sheet and everybody says, "Oh, I didn't know it was."
It was okay.
Yeah, I didn't know it was. Yeah, that won't get you far. Well, thank you so much. It's GafferDistrict.com. Get your tickets ahead of time or show up today. It's not too late, and then have fun.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being on the show. All right, we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.
Looks like y'all got a lot of stuff here in your water.
You're never gonna believe it, but this can filter up to 60 different contaminants from your water.
It's all about cleaner drinking water.
Dude, that's good water.
And that's good water.
Now that's good water.
That's good water, eh?
No matter where you live, there's a Culligan water expert nearby. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
We were paying so much money. The Koala team made the whole process so easy, and we saw savings on our very first bill.
The inspection was really eye-opening.
It's a great feeling knowing that we're truly energy efficient.
Now we're finally properly insulated.
Koala is a first-class company all the way.
It's time you discover Koala Insulation.
Hi, I'm Darren with Koala Insulation of Southern Tier. Give us a call. We are fully insured and we offer veteran and military discounts.
Emerald here, and I'm so excited to tell you about my French door air fryer 360. Extra large 26-quart capacity. Cook with up to 70% less calories from fat than deep frying. That's a big deal, my friend. 360 degrees of superheated air gives you fast, even cooking. My 10-in-1 French door air fryer 360 grills, air fries, dehydrates, roasts, bakes, broils, proofs, slow cooks, and toasts. This baby does it all. These French doors are a game changer. Look at how easy that is.
Now, find out how you can try Emeril Lagasse's French Door Air Fryer 360 with 3 cooking tiers, fetch tool, air frying rack, and drip tray in your home for 30 days for just $14.99. Order now and you'll also get Emeril's Air Fryer Favorites recipe book. And we'll automatically upgrade you to our bonus cooking kit free. Plus, find out how you can get free shipping. This offer will not last, so call or click now to order.
You're going to love it. I guarantee it.
Thank you again to Kristen Brewer for being our guest from the Gaffer District. Speaking of the Gaffer District, we're broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio right there. I'm your host, Frank Acom. This is Frankly Speaking. Cabin Fever is a fun event, and I hope everybody can make it out. It looks to be, according to reports, going to be a beautiful day and a beautiful evening. Okay, so Congressman Nick Langworthy weighed in on a topic that we brought to you yesterday. Wait a minute. Before that, I can't skip this comment that I received from a viewer. I nearly forgot. Always a great show, Frank. Thank you. You'd get more waves if the conservatives weren't always out working. Recently retired. Well, thank you. The waves, if you're new to the program, is on the bottom of the screen. You can either text it in as a virtual wave, or you can walk by. But the problem is, if you walk by, you're not watching the show, so I prefer the virtual wave. Let's hear from Congressman Nick Langworthy. He weighed in on the appellate court, who made the decision that only citizens can vote in United States elections. It came out, I want to say, on the 21st. Well, Congressman Nick Langworthy applauded the appellate court's ruling, affirming the unconstitutionality of Democrats' law to allow non-citizens to vote in certain New York elections. Mr. Langworthy, who previously served as chairman of the New York Republican Party, which I'm sure you're aware, led the charge to bring the lawsuit to block the New York City Council's law from taking effect. The state's lower court previously ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, and the ruling was upheld on appeal. This is what the congressman had to say. New York has been ground zero for the radical left's policies to remake America. But when I served as chairman of the New York GOP, I sprang into action and led the charge to fight back against the New York City Council's assault on the integrity of our election. This decision, affirming our win to block non-citizens from voting in our election, is a massive victory for election integrity nationwide. Voting is a sacred right reserved for our citizens, and this decision sent a giant message to the nation that we are not going to allow Democrats to illegally eradicate our rights. When you fight back, you can win. So thank you to Congressman Nick Langworthy, not only for the statement, but also for leading the charge on that. Look at this. I'm glad I read that last comment. This might be a new record of waves, 9 waves. Also, as a quick update from yesterday, New York City Council is calling for an investigation. I know it's New York City, but bear with me. Of Mayor Adams' plan to hand illegals a $10,000 prepaid debit card. I know I mentioned this yesterday, and I put the numbers up on the screen. The mayor estimated that the prepaid cards would cost the city $53 million and would allow migrants to spend $35 per day or $1,000 a month to buy food to prepare for themselves instead of being handed pre-made meals supplied by the city. And I think I read that the company that was supplying these, the funding and the interest rates and all that on the debit card was out of New Jersey, and they were making the big money. So anyway, now I hate to bring this one up, and I know I'll be the first to admit we are jumping all over the place this morning, but bear with me, because yesterday we talked about the media and their constant push of don't worry, the economy is actually really, really good. Never mind your feelings, never mind your bank account and your wallet and your bills each month. The economy is doing really great. Well, we saw the numbers, and food prices are up higher than they've been since George H.W. Bush was in office. Not W, H.W. Bush Sr. Now we have a new way of looking at this. This coming from the New York Post. This is where it hurts. Tooth Fairy. The Tooth Fairy is paying less for lost teeth due to high inflation, according to a new survey. There's the numbers. The average amount of cash left under the pillow by the Tooth Fairy dropped to $5.84 last year. That's 6% lower than the $6.23 in 2022. That's the first decline since 2018, excuse me. Now, that's weird the Tooth Fairy picks such a specific number, but I don't know her business model. Even the loss of a first tooth, which usually gets a pretty lucrative award, wasn't as profitable as it once was, the survey found. There you go. There's your, from the New York Post, the average Tooth Fairy payout. Even the Tooth Fairy at this point. This is not, I mean, it's lighthearted, but it's not a joke. That's a survey they did to conduct to find out actual amounts that children were receiving, and due to inflation, the payout for a tooth is down. So Democrats say that they'll, how am I doing on time? Democrats say they'll campaign with Biden if he's pitching tangible results for their state. I like how CNN tries to spin this, but the idea is there's been a lot of talks. Will Democrats, especially vulnerable Democrats, want the president to campaign with them? Because the president himself, if you look at the polls, not necessarily someone you want hitching to your wagon, someone that you want helping with their support for you. Democrats in tight races across the country are already dreading and carefully wording their answer to the question of whether they'd campaign alongside Joe Biden. I do have to say also, I don't know how much campaigning the president will be doing. We saw very little the last go around, and of course with the recent, well, not that recent, but the media's recent attention, I suppose, on the mental health issues. Will he be out doing these types of rallies with a bunch of other candidates to get support for them, and he hopes himself? I have my doubts on that. I don't think we'll see him that often. When he turned down, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but when he turned down the Super Bowl interview, that was a major red flag of what was to come. We've already assumed that he will not debate. My thought, my prediction is he'll say that we're not going to give Donald Trump the platform to lie and be a threat to democracy. You can see it already. Great talking point in their mind. But I also think they'll come up with some type of excuse to say, well, he's too busy. He's president. He can't be doing all these rallies for all these people. Because every time he gives a press conference, which is very rare, every time he gives a speech, anytime he's impromptu especially, you see these gaffes, you see these stumbles, you see these pauses as awkwardness. So will they be willing to put him on numerous campaign stops throughout the season for other candidates? But that's not what this article is about. In CNN's conversation with 24 candidates and campaign strategists, the level of enthusiasm was mixed. Let me see that. It says most said they would. Okay? But the president, even on the highest polls, has about 40% favorability rating. That's even looking at the outliers that want him to do well. But the answer was mostly yes from these candidates. Quote, as long as he's coming to talk about money flowing to their districts and not hoping to get them to put on a Biden campaign button. Wow, so imagine that. Talk about insulting. Yeah, you can come here as long as you're bringing money with you, and as long as I don't have to show any support for you whatsoever, even as bare minimum as putting on a button. Wow. This is what, well, that's a distinction that even Democrats in relatively safe seats are making, saying they're happy to welcome Biden in the right circumstances. So that's not even candidates that are struggling. This is safe blue districts. Democrats saying, can you bring money along so I can justify it? Representative Greg Stanton, a Democrat who represents a fairly blue district, said, is he bringing CHIPS Act money that we deserve and need in Arizona? Is he bringing money for our infrastructure, including almost $100 million for I-10 expansion? If it's on an issue that I believe in, that I've worked on, then yes, of course I would appear with the president. So yeah, if he brings money, or if it's just to talk about me, I guess I could welcome him. One, and I'm going to watch my language here. This was on anonymity. But one candidate in a tough race went with kind of a more direct answer saying, and I'm paraphrasing, heck no. There you are. That's got to be a kick in the pants for the Biden campaign, who is relatively quiet. Now, there is a piece today that by Errol Lewis, who says Democrats got to stop freaking out about Biden in 2024. Everything's fine. Don't believe the polls. Don't believe the concerns. It's still a campaign against Trump. We may talk about that, but I don't want to run too late. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox will be right back.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with the Hesselson's Hot Tub. Hesselson's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselson's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselson's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's hot tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
If you were one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer.
How do I know if I have a case?
Call 844-292-6222 and consult with one of our attorneys to find out if the products you used are part of the lawsuit. Your eligibility will also depend on how often you use these hair products and your specific cancer diagnosis. If you regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. Call 844-292-6222.
How much will it cost to talk to an attorney?
There is no fee unless we win your case. Call 844-292-6222 for your free case review.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks are a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen One, the portable oxygen concentrator you can take almost anywhere.
With this little device, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
The Inogen One is so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen One for 30 days completely risk-free. Give us a call right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days completely risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen One system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 1-800-929-7290. Again, that's 1-800-929-7290. We are back with Frankly Speaking. I'm your host, Frank Acom. Yes, look at that wave count. Unprecedented numbers. Thank you, everybody, sending in such nice comments. Here's a comment on something we're discussing, though, from a viewer. The last red flag I saw was the background behind Biden at the State of the Union address when he insulted so many Americans with his hate speech. That alone should have told any sane, moderate Democrat or independent voter everything they need to know if they care about this republic and our freedoms. Thank you very much. Keep those comments coming in, those waves coming in. You remember the name, kind of a left-wing cultural commentator, Fran Lebowitz? She was asked on an interview with ABC out of Australia, because she's been very quiet during the Biden administration. She was asked about the age factor, the Biden age factor. She said, "I wish he had not decided to run. I really do, because he is too old. I think he's too old. However, he's running. And since he's running and the other candidate is going to be Donald Trump," yeah, I guess that's the mindset. "Yes, I think he's too old. Trump is also old, but the thing is, Trump is so horrible that the old is even meaningless. Yeah, I think he's too old. I don't know why he's running. It must be very hard to be the president, but it must be really fun." Errol Lewis says, hey, why Democrats should stop freaking out about Biden's 2024 election. Or campaign, I should say. Democrat supporters of Biden should quit freaking out. This is a headline. Okay. Despite what a handful of recent polls suggest, a handful, every poll, sir, there's good reason to believe that the White House's policies and performance will be judged a success by the voting public and that Biden will be reelected to another 4 years. Pundits and pollsters have been warning for months that Biden's anemic approval rating, mired around 39%, means Democrats are in imminent danger of losing the White House. Nate Silver, he quotes Nate Silver. We talked about him last week. Ezra Klein saying, Biden is not up by 12 points. He can't coast to victory here. He is losing. He is behind in most polls. He is behind. Despite everything people already know about Donald Trump, he needs to make up ground. If he does not make up ground, Trump wins. So he goes through, and I'm not going to go through all this, and he gives historic examples or, kind of manipulates some information here. But he believes, how about this? There's been no serious social unrest under Biden and no major administration scandals. Quote, Hunter Biden's laptop comes nowhere close to Watergate or the Clinton impeachment. So it looks like 7 of the keys are lining up nicely for Biden. So there's this yes or no quiz of supposedly the picks to president. I'm not going to go through all of it. You get the idea. You're going to see a lot of articles like that as it becomes more clear, it looks like, that that President Biden has no intentions of stepping down. And once he has become the nominee, you will see many, many articles like that. Speaking quickly, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent here. Speaking of Hunter, Hunter Biden, because that reporter or opinion piece, Errol Flynn, mentioned it. Did you see that the CBS, I mentioned her in the past, Catherine Heritage, she was fired when they laid off 20 CBS news staffers. A lot of people said, well, that really stinks. She seemed to be the one that kind of went against the trends. She was the only one reporting on Hunter Biden. She has a First Amendment case coming up, really is respected as a journalist. And remember, she even said when she reported on Hunter Biden, she was getting a lot of pushback from the top, meaning, a lot of powers that be at CBS said, you don't bring up this story about Hunter. She did anyway. Well, now it is being claimed that after she was fired, her personal files have been seized by the network in what they're calling an unprecedented move. Now, this is not just about the Hunter Biden scenario. It's also about the fact that she's in a First Amendment case, that this could release sources. Not only that, it's her personal information. So they said it could even have private medical history on there. Her firing stunned coworkers because, like I said, she was respected. A lot of people liked her. But the network's decision to hold on to her personal materials along with her work laptop, where she may have other confidential info, has left many staffers shaken, according to insiders. It's so extraordinary, a source familiar with the situation noted. So basically what CBS is saying, your private documents that you had on your desk are now our property at CBS News. And they could contain information from her time with Fox and her time with CBS. They never seize documents when they let you go. They want to see what damaging documents she has. Wow. Unprecedented is a good word for that. You read into that what you would like. We've got a couple other things here about Biden, a few things here about Trump, maybe about Haley, and then we'll do a quick rundown in our last break. But we got a couple breaks left to go, so stay with us. We'll be right back. But frankly speaking, here, I got a frog in my throat, here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. We'll be right back.
Wow, you found it.
I did.
The History of Water Part 6? I've been dying to read this.
I know, honey.
I always wanted that book.
At Culligan, we get that most people don't think about water like we do, and that's okay. You see, when we install one of our high-efficiency water softeners, we're thinking about hard water and limescale buildup, so you can just think about longer-lasting appliances and softer skin and hair. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
Attention, this is an important message for firefighters, members of the military, and airport workers. For decades, first responders and firefighters at military bases and airports used a chemical-based foam to fight fires. Studies have shown that chemicals used to make aqueous film-forming foam, or AFFF, are highly toxic to humans and have been associated with several types of cancer. If you or someone you know was diagnosed with any of those cancers, call now for a free case review.
The average cost of hearing aids is nearly $5,000. But now you can buy a full pair of rechargeable, wireless, nearly invisible, easy to use, very comfortable hearing devices for only $99. $99 for a full pair? Yes, but only from Audion. Audion Adams are trusted by over 300,000 customers nationwide.
My Audions really have been a godsend to me.
Audion Adams are tiny, but powerful and nearly invisible.
It's small, it's easy to use.
Audient Adams can be sold over the phone today without having to see a doctor or audiologist. Order your full pair of high-quality hearing devices for only $99 right over the phone. Call
1-800-371-8993. 1-800-371-8993. 1-800-371-8993.
Saturday night on Fox Primetime Hoops. It's a battle in the Big East as Villanova takes on top-ranked UConn. Donovan Clingan leads the Huskies as the defending champs look to showcase why they are the best in the nation.
Exclamation point!
But Eric Dixon and the Wildcats have their sights set on a huge upset. Villanova, UConn. Coverage begins Saturday at 7 Eastern.
The biggest games are on Fox.
We're coming right back in. No music. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. Oh, I want to mention quickly. I'm just going to put this up on the screen just before I don't forget. There is a woman's self-defense class coming up, and it's absolutely free to attend. I wanted to mention this because we talk so often about the real issues here in New York State with public safety. This is a great idea. You see the number there. You can call or register. It'll be at TriFit Training, 116 Breezeport Road in Horseheads, but they do need you to register. I will be talking to our friend who's been on the program numerous times, but this time she will be sans Sylvia. Sylvia will not be here because she's in Italy, but Elisa Trosha will be joining us to talk about that on Monday to get you some more information of what you need to know. So make sure you tune in. I know you'll tune in every day anyway. I appreciate that. Thank you for all the comments, by the way, today. We're running a little late. Quickly, Biden brags as the Supreme Court didn't stop him from canceling student loans. We mentioned this, I want to say on Monday, that never mind what the Supreme Court decides, he's still going to forgive these student loans, which, by the way, don't worry about that as we struggle with inflation and we struggle with our national debt. James Clyburn was on CNN this morning, yesterday. Weird way of wording that. But do not worry, because Biden is, quote, not giving anybody's money away with loan program. He forgave loans. People had already paid. Oh, I see. Okay. I guess nothing to get worked up about then. This is what the president had to say just yesterday at the Julian Dixon Library in California. Early in my term, I announced a major plan to provide millions of working families with debt relief for their college student debt. Tens of millions of people in debt were literally about to be canceled in debts. But my MAGA Republican friends in the Congress, elected officials, and special interests stepped in and sued us, and the Supreme Court blocked it. But that didn't stop me. So he sees this as tough talk. What many people said, imagine a party that is running, talking so often about being a threat to democracy, and then laughing at the fact that the Supreme Court can't stop him. David Harsanyi from the Federalist wrote, yesterday he was going on about how Republicans were going to destroy democracy. Kind of remarking on the irony there. Benjamin Weingarten said, we've been reliably told this kind of rhetoric is an assault on democracy. Yeah, rhetoric like that, of what Biden used, is an assault on democracy if we use their definition of assault on democracy. One of the, quote, nobody is above the law people is debunking that again, said Doug Powers. Biden explained that he's happy to break the law to give away your money. The decay of checks and balances isn't a flex, meaning it's not something to brag about. Former Ted Cruz advisor Omri Sirin said, one striking thing about the political left is that over and over again, across literally decades, they act as if they believe they're in power forever. I've made that comment before, and it is interesting. They'll make decisions, they'll do things as if there'll be no consequences, that Republicans won't be able to do the exact same thing if they get in power. It is interesting. That's a very good point. Made by that commentator. But yeah, it goes with the same when they try to take Trump off of ballots for the primary. And then they are campaigning at the same time as being a threat to democracy. The Supreme Court can't stop me. There is a very high level of irony there. We got to take another break. Wow, look at all these waves, folks. Thank you so much. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Teeth not as white as you'd like? Watkins Glen and Elmira Family Dentistry can fix that. Give them an hour of your time, and they'll give you that bright smile you've always wanted. No lights, no gimmicks, no wipes. and absolutely no application by yourself. Sit back and relax in one of their beautiful offices and let a licensed dental professional apply the product for you. And with their winter whitening sale, you'll have even more to smile about.
This right here is confidence in a bottle. It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Your solution is at plexidermtrial.com or call the number.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, I just received, this is not typical, but a message from an old college friend who does not live in the state asking, is your state or the city, and it ends up being the city, giving people money for breaking the law? Like people crossing the border illegally. Then they get free money, credit cards? I'm so confused. Now, reading the story like all of us, that's in reference, not watching the program, but how timely. I mention it because, yes, I believe there are other people in other states that must be looking at this and saying, wait, what am I missing? I saw a report of where, how many people in New York are living under the poverty line, and yet people that came here to be in the sanctuary city receiving debit cards from Mayor Adams that will cost the city $53 million. It's, wow. And also this comment from a viewer, and I do apologize. We're not going to be able to get to all comments. I know I shouldn't have read that other one, but I thought it was a good point. People from out of state shocked at the decisions being made in this state. But we won't be able to get to all of them, and thank you for all the waves. But how is the student loan forgiveness not illegally buying votes with taxpayer money? Exactly. There's a reason that President Biden is doing that now, and there's a reason why he's bragging about it. Because he knows, especially young people, are disenfranchised with him. As Van Jones said, he's being called Genocide Joe because, unfortunately, and there should come as no surprise after what we're seeing on college campuses after October 7th, this strain of anti-Semitism. So they do not have the support for Israel that Biden originally showed. So they are not fans of Joe. Also, just some of his policies, they're just not interested. It's just not, he's boring to them. So there's not that enthusiasm. So what does he do? Just like he did to get rid of some of the schedule for EV cars. I always say EV cars, which is the complete wrong way of saying it. EV mandates, changing that because he wants the union support, the auto union support. I mean, it's just one thing after the other. Wavering on his stance on Israel, again, to get these type of votes. So yes, exactly. I not to go on a tangent, but yes, I don't see any way it's not illegally buying votes. But I guess their argument would be, no, this is just a plan that we've had all along to forgive all these people struggling with loans, school loans. Boy, by the way, really eye-opening, and we've known for a while, but what these young people are being taught, universities, and then to see the money they get charged for that. Governor Hochul said that Swazi's win is a blueprint for the way things should go for Democrats nationally. Okay? That's what she's suggesting. I'm not sure that there's any rhyme or reason to that. We know it was a fluke with what happened. Not necessarily the race, but you had a man that was already congressman in that district. You had a snowstorm. I mean, anyway. Sorry, I'm going through things quickly because I realize we're running out of time. Trump cannot postpone paying the $355 million judgment in the New York fraud case. You may have heard this. And we got reports the other day that people are donating to his legal fund. You have failed to explain, this is the judge, much less justify any basis for a stay. I'm confident that the appellate division will protect your appellate rights. So he has to pay because Letitia James, has been making this statement. So we'll just seize his assets. We'll do whatever we need to do. But that's what she campaigned on originally, was going after Trump. But again, we're told it is not political, which is really assuring. So we've got to take our last break. Then we're going to wrap things up, and it is going to be fast. Stay with us.
Attention, if you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and now have uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call now to see if you qualify. There's no fee unless we win your case.
Vehicles are in-house and on display, with more on the way. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, visit Elm Chevrolet. Search Elm Chevrolet's entire new vehicle inventory at elmchevrolet.com. Together, let's drive.
And Missy face off in Book Smarts versus Street Smarts.
I'm not feeling so good. Biohazard! Biohazard!
Young Sheldon. Weeknights at 6:30 on
Broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio, I'm your host, Frank Acom. This is Frankly Speaking on Big Fox, and we are nearly out of time. Couple quick things. Tomorrow is South Carolina. Don't forget, if you want to watch the coverage of that. Haley says, Nikki Haley, mark my words, he, meaning Trump, will not win a general election. I always find, though, that interesting when you have someone that has not won a state yet in the primary season telling us how to win in the general, which I know it's a Republican primary. I understand that, but it just falls weird on my ears. But Nikki Haley projected, according to polls, to lose pretty significantly in her home state. Still surprised that she kept going, if I'm being honest, because that is, that's tough to overcome in the future. And she's young. She could be running for president again, something else. But that might be tough to overcome. And that's, for better or worse, just unfortunate to lose your own home state, but she says she's going all the way through to the end. You saw that press conference during the week. Laura Trump reveals her plans to turbocharge the RNC, such things as ballot harvesting, using the rules in our favor, poll watchers, and more. She added that in addition to ballot harvesting, on day one as RNC co-chair, she would launch initiatives to register more Republican voters, as well as recruit and train poll watchers to help crack down on any potential illegal activity. I'm here to do whatever I can to make sure we get the country back on track. We have to legally ballot harvest everywhere we possibly can. Legally. That's important. Yes, it's just like what we were talking about with early voting. We do not take advantage of it. By the way, just as a side note, this is shocking. Coming from a family research council, in these trying times, attacks on churches have increased nearly 800% in less than 6 years, indicating the hostility against U.S. churches is not only on the rise, but also accelerating. Wow, we had a great morning, didn't we? I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much. How about this? Here's one last message from a viewer. Great show, or great job. Love your show. And no, this is not your mom. Thank you. That's our continuous joke here, that everybody gets compliments because it's a family member. So thank you very much for that nice comment. Thank you for all the waves, historic number of waves. Thank you to Kristen Brewer from the Gaffer District. Everybody have fun, safe time out there at Cabin Fever tonight. It's going to be a good event. So thank you to Kristen Brewer for being on the show. And on Monday, we'll be talking with Elisa Trosha about her free upcoming women's self-defense workshop. So don't miss that. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy the coverage of South Carolina. And we will be back Monday morning starting at 7 with Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV. Big Fox. I look forward to it already.
What do you do when you're tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere, you reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast and so convenient. It's like the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires on a single charge. It has a built-in smart pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls,